What is going on, everyone? Welcome to the podcast. We are here on the road. We have a few guests with us today. He's been on the podcast before, but he's behind the camera today, and he refuses to be on camera and be heard. But if he talks, you'll hear him. That's going to be our buddy Mub. Been on the podcast before. I believe it was at least number 7 or 8. I can't remember which one, but we were out in Sarasota, and he joined the podcast. So please check out that podcast if you want to actually hear his voice. But he will be on the podcast, I think, in the next episode or two. Here to my right is my sister, Aimee. She's joining us today. We're just going to have a nice little conversation about just whatever and, maybe some stories about how crazy dispensaries here in Illinois can be. But before we get into all that, don't forget to follow me on Instagram at Brewmaster Joe and at Twitter at same thing, Brewmaster Joe. Love and like the podcast. It's Ready Said Podcast on Facebook. We have a YouTube page, Rumble, and wherever you may find your podcast. All right. Let's see. So, how's it going?
Chillin'.
Yeah?
Chillin' in Chillinois.
It's weather here is pretty interesting. The last few days have been kind of warm. I feel like I brought some of that Florida weather here with me.
About a 7-degree day, I think it was. What
nice
are we
and
at
hot.
Now? 30s?
Yeah, it's back
High
to the
winds.
40s. That's how
Chicago.
it is here in the Midwest.
We're used to it.
Yeah.
Very much so.
So, we were talking earlier about some of these stories that you've heard, we'll say, and we're just hoping you could share some of us with us, and we'll see where it goes from there.
I don't know what kind of stories we're looking for here.
Well, so this podcast kind of in the past we've discussed I've worked in restaurants before. It's kind of in the first few episodes.
Well, yeah, it's retail.
Yeah, so it's the kind of we have this customer service, kind of arcing talking points, throughout the podcast. So just any crazy things you've heard about, if you will. I mean,
Crazy things. I mean, I don't even know what would say it's crazy. It's pretty much a typical retail business. Most people that we call ourselves bud tenders, if you will, most people don't like that now.
Really?
Illinois, you're not allowed to show products. It's like slapping a hand when a customer goes to even look at the jar that you're selling to them. They're incredibly strict with things like that. So when they call us bud tenders, we're just selling you the weed.
So
1/8, here, and then.
That's what's very interesting about this state is a lot of people come here from other states thinking it's almost as wide open as, and that happens actually in Florida too, because Florida has medical, and I guess other people go to their dispensaries and are turned away because they don't have a Florida medical card.
In Florida that happens.
Yeah.
I mean, we honor medical from out of state too. You even get a discount. You just got to check out on recreational side. I'm surprised Florida doesn't do that.
It's really strict there. I think it is in Florida.
I've had customers from Florida or various states. Their stories are even funnier. I'm like, you're gonna hate it here. Usually,
what have you heard from them?
Well, out west, obviously, it's like going to a liquor store. You just go, you pick it, buy it, and you're out. Plus the pricing. The pricing is astronomical here, even as an employee.
So that's probably, I bet, some of the things that you hear about is people you'll be like, oh, it's X amount of dollars for product X, and they're like, what the fuck is this?
Yeah, edibles especially are probably the most expensive
Really?
product we have. Edibles
Interesting.
especially, yeah. There's a specific tax for edibles, which is an infused. So if you see that on the receipt, infused.
Okay,
that's
so there's
edibles.
a different infused tax
And it's
versus
expensive. It's
flour.
Versus flour. Yeah,
Oh,
it's a lot
okay.
cheaper to buy flour than it is edibles.
Whoa, so I thought it was the opposite.
No. Even extract too. Half a gram for
It's
36. Depending on taxes. But that's the other thing too. The higher your percent, don't be a percentage shopper, please. Higher your percent, the higher the tax.
Oh.
All those 93s.
That's me when I come here.
85s and the vape oil. Really expensive. You're better off making your own RSO oil, the Rick Simpson oil. That's where you need to go.
That's the
especially
best.
with edibles. You can do everything with it.
Best bang for your buck.
Best bang for your buck. It's potent. It's potent as hell.
You can swear it's fine.
Oh, I can swear it's potent as fuck. And you can do everything with it. Smoke it. Use it as a balm. You can bake with it. And but it's very hard to sustain. You make lemonade, sugar, anything, butter.
Oh yeah, butter.
Butter.
Ken, you want to add anything, or he's just gleaming? I wish I
We
could
have
put the camera on him
our
right now.
5-star chef too.
Sorry,
But he knows.
He knows he's got to talk in the next podcast, so we'll just save that.
He's
But
just gonna on that one.
I'm pre-worked right now
Yeah. Oh, and, he's enjoying that. Yeah. So yeah, the expense is just astronomical. It's hard to maintain. Usually everybody is like, well, just grow your own. That's not that easy either.
Yeah,
no,
we're also gonna be talking to Ken about that one.
It's an investment, absolutely. If you have the space in Illinois, Chicago's a big city, so a lot of people are in apartments. And though it's legal, even though it's a legal, thing.
So have you heard of anyone like coming in there complaining about, like not being able to grow because they have such a small closet?
Well, there's that subreddit for Illinois trees. I see a lot of complaints about that because a lot of people say, well, just grow your own. You don't want to pay for it. It's too expensive. And they're like, I can't.
Because they just don't even know how,
but I can't. They don't have the space. The landlord said, I don't care if it's legal in Illinois. I don't want it. So you can't even do that. Yeah, so it's the landlord's decision. It's their property.
Because that could get them evicted from...
Yeah, they'll get evicted if they start growing. So they're like, what's our option?
Oh, wow. I never thought of it like that.
Illinois knows that.
Wow, that's
Illinois
crazy.
Knows. So they know what they can charge. Even as an employee, it's expensive for myself, even with the discounts. So I don't dab in the dab.
Really?
It gets your tolerance way too high. So it's like... I'll be smoking and not even high anymore.
I don't mind the dabs. I mean, I've never really been into kind of that style of...
I don't fuck with the dab.
But, like, I'll try them here and there. I remember one time, like, it was like 3 years ago, but I quit before I went to... So I was actually, back when I started the podcast, I think if you actually look, there's like a period of time where I wasn't doing it, I think in the fall, and I had quit smoking pot, and I remember I came to hang out with Mub. And we were getting high in the basement in Morning Grove, and I got we were doing dabs. I'm like, dude, I can't. It was just, my head was just like, the blood was just rushing nonstop from all the like THC infusion into my blood. It was pretty intense. But I mean, my tolerance is pretty high now. But still, I just remember being like, whoa, I can't keep. Remember we had this syrup, and we had edibles. And I had like nice. I like a soda with some syrup in it, and I'm like, I can't anymore.
Oh, you put the syrup in the soda?
Something like that, yeah. And I was like, oh god, I'm telling you. I was super paranoid. I'm like,
your peaks were on top then, yeah.
Yeah, because I was also about to do the cruise, so that was in the back of my mind. Like, they might drug test me, There was those fear-mongering fucks. That's what that was.
That's really what it is everywhere, though.
Yeah,
they're instilling that fear that pot's gonna destroy your employment. Most likely not.
It's so stupid because it's no different. I mean, I almost look at it as a better alternative to, like, would you rather have someone like drinking a fifth of liquor while working, or just like ripping a bong? I mean, I get it. It's not a great look either way, but like, what's worse, a guy that's hungry or just stumbling over himself and then a shelf falls on him and you're liable now?
Well, that's the thing too. When I worked at Amazon, and their little well, first of all, to get a job at Amazon, you just have to pass a drug test. That's their interview process.
Really?
It's a mouth swab.
That's just
not even a pee test.
It's just
mouth swab, because they're looking for other substances.
Oh, because mouth swabs kind of focus more on like the harder, because you can piss those out within days.
There's a clause in the handbook too about marijuana. I think because we're so close to Wisconsin. I worked in Wisconsin.
Okay.
I should say that. So the facility was in Kenosha.
Oh.
And they had a little blurb in the handbook about marijuana, and they're like, it's okay to test positive. We don't care that you smoke, but if you do test positive the day you had an accident on the job, then
that's how they do that. Interesting.
But they were okay if you had taken this mouth swab and tested positive for marijuana. They were like, we don't give a shit.
Wow, that's crazy.
Just don't do meth.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of what they're saying. She got Ken there.
Just don't do meth. That's what I got. That's their qualifications.
So the only other time I've heard of these mouth swabs actually was when Nicole worked that's my girlfriend. She's actually been on the podcast before, believe it or not. You gotta go deep in the catalog if you want to listen to her, and that's probably maybe like 10 minutes at the end of one or two. Anyway, that was back when I was saying like tranny, and she'd be like, Joe. It's pretty funny. Anyway, damn it, I forgot what the fuck I was just saying now. So mouth swabs.
Yeah.
She worked at this place called the Arizona Grand Resort in Phoenix, and they used to test their servers with mouth swabs. Which I thought,
on a daily basis.
I don't know if it was a daily
weekly?
basis, but like that I think they would randomly drug test their staff, because I remember Nicole telling me stories. Like, she didn't have to worry about it; she didn't do anything, so like it wasn't anything she had to worry about, but like everyone else at work there did, and they were all a bunch of like coke heads. And she told me, like, one guy, I think one of the busters was dealing coke to all these servers. You know what I mean?
That's probably why they started busting
Kenny's
up
like our
swaps.
lawyer. He's like, what are you doing?
You know, no,
He's like,
no.
This is like 13, 15 years ago. So, yeah, I think it's probably fine. But
in the hospitality business, too, that they would do that?
yeah.
They that
well,
worried about drugs? That's
even
interesting.
for back then, that seemed extreme.
Yeah.
But, like, this was they were doing that before. So, I guess they were always doing that. I think it was always random. Because this is a big resort, so maybe that's
Okay,
why. You know,
as
it wasn't
a
like
resort,
this,
that makes sense
It wasn't
then.
like this little property that, you know, it was a hotel. It was like a huge fucking resort.
Yeah.
Actually, it wasn't far from where Mom lived. And
Oh,
we were out
Chandler?
there. Yeah, it was just next to that. So they would test the servers that way. I think security would just randomly drug test people or whatever. And I think you get better insurance rates when you do that. And obviously,
Interesting.
you have a huge, like 20, 30 acre property, like anything,
Yeah.
obviously it's going to save you in the long run.
Yeah.
So, but anyway, so I think one time the guy the buster that he had his, you know, extracurricular business going on, left some of his inventory next to, you know, one of the computers. And I don't know if manager found it or someone was like, oh, look what I found. And that kind of created a whole thing.
Well,
I think
that's bad business practice on his part.
Yeah, like, he was an idiot. And I
Don't
mean,
leave your product around, guys.
that staff turned over pretty quickly,
Yeah.
not too long after that, you know. But like one of the
God.
girls there, she was one of Nicole's friends. I used to buy weed from her. That's how I used to get my halves down there. And now it's legal in Arizona. It's so fucking weird. When I was in Arizona, actually, right before I left is when they passed it medically. But the governor there fought it. She was like, oh, I don't know. It's just like it passed by a simple majority. It was like just over 50. It barely passed by like 4,000 votes, I think. And then it went recreational in the last few years, 18 or 2020.
Well, how can you deny it? The whole West Coast was going legal. That's
Yeah,
what's interesting
I mean,
about Wisconsin is if we're, you know, we got Michigan, Illinois,
well,
Minnesota.
that was kind of going on out because it was.
Push them into it.
I think when did it become? When did weed become recreational in California?
Oh, 2016.
If only there was a computer Ken could use to look this up for us and a
Fact
screen
check.
that would display this.
Fact check.
But because I think when I was in Arizona, that was going on.
Yeah.
Where people it was legal in California and it was being moved into Arizona.
Okay. That was what, 20?
I was out there in 2008 to 2012.
2012, okay.
Well, the end
So
of
at the-
2008.
yeah. Oh, that's right. That's right.
Actually,
It was a lifetime
I
ago.
got pulled over.
There we go.
Fucking things.
There we
Oh,
go.
you gotta put it over, like just hover over it. You just don't know how this fucking computer. I'm sorry, I don't know why I'm yelling. Just go, move the. Yeah, now it should pop up. Click.
There we go.
You gotta click. I'm sorry, this computer I use is such a piece of shit. And Kenny's used to. Kenny, if you could see how beautiful this house is, you would understand why Kenny is very frustrated with my 5-year-old computer that's been powering an audio podcast. And we just moved a video, so. I mean, I just bought the mic for this whole thing. I mean, we're on a budget here. Kenny,
Strict budget.
Kenny accidentally doxes me to the 4 people that watch this.
This would be so frustrating.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I didn't have to do it. Usually it's a hand signal, but hey, none needed.
And that's Joe. You gotta do the whole thing.
And that's Joe Persinger at Brewmaster Joe. You can find him on Twitter, Instagram.
Don't forget to like the
Ready,
Facebook
set,
page.
podcast. Thank you.
Yes. So I got pulled over in Arizona. I think it was 3 or 4 months before I left. It was so funny. I went to actually go watch Entourage with a
I think I
friend.
remember this.
Yeah. I got pulled over, and so I had a Chevy Cobalt back then. And if anyone remembers, the Cobalt, there's a. It's the transmission has you can hold soda or whatever, a cup, and it pops open. So whenever I get pulled over, I just throw my shit in there.
It's not working. I'm giving up.
That's all right.
Cut.
We'll just have to use our phones to do that. Just go back. Yeah, just go back to OBS. It's fine. So I. No, it's just fucking old. You gotta go here. Just give it a second. It'll pop up. Oh wait, shouldn't you have OBS on that screen? Okay, I'm an idiot. He's getting frustrated. I'm getting frustrated. Anyway,
We might not have wanted to smoke as
that's fine. It's not a big deal. We're having fun. It's still recording though, right? I'm not speaking
it's
into the
still
ether.
recording.
Okay. All right. Anyway, so I had a garage. Oh, that's right. So I get pulled over. I was leaving my friend's house. I don't even remember what made these cops follow me. I just had a knack for attracting police attention. I wasn't even have a crappy car. It was a decent car. So these guys followed me, pulled me over, and I had all my shit in my pocket, which was like I think it was just a grinder with weed in it. And if not, it was just a grinder.
Yeah.
But in Arizona back then, just having propaganda like a pipe or a grinder, that's a felony. So I remember I pulled over. I just gave up.
That's a felony
It was
just for
it's a
that?
felony out there. So I remember thinking, like, I gave up. I was like, whatever. So I pull over, and I hear them go, please pull the car to the next road. Take a right, please. I was like, oh, they just saved my life.
Yeah.
So as I was moving it, I popped all my shit in there, and then so where I was
No, you were gonna.
So they pulled me over, and then because of, like, where I was living at, like, they didn't let me smoke blunts in the house. So I would smoke in my car, so my car's just reek.
yeah.
So when they pulled me over,
They knew.
I was, like, honest with them about, like, because I think I had blunts in my pocket, and they were sticking out of my sweatpants. So they're like, what's going on there? I was like, I was at my friend's house watching Entourage. Like, were you using marijuana? I'm like, no, I was watching an HBO show about men having sex with women and smoking weed, and I was not doing either of those things. I mean, I wasn't a smart ass, but, I was like, yeah,
Yes,
I
yes,
was.
he was.
I'm like,
Yes, he was.
I'm like, but I'm not like, I wasn't like, oh yeah, I smoked. I was like, yeah, I did, but this was like hours ago. And it was just so funny because you could tell what they did is one guy was searching my car. I think I was like, go ahead, search the car. I knew they weren't gonna find shit. And so one guy was searching it, the other guy was just like talking to me, and they were trying. This is a tactic they do because they want you to get nervous. And they could tell, oh, if he's nervous. There's probably something in there, but I wasn't nervous. But they were at odds because even though I wasn't nervous, the car fucking reeked.
Yeah.
So they were like, they were. I knew. The guy searching it was determined to find something. To the point where, like, I remember at one point I looked over and he was like, he took the vents and opened it up and like stuck his flashlight in there. I'm like, Jesus, dude, I'm gonna have to try. Like, all he had to do was pop the fucking.
Yeah.
I would have been done.
Come on, Arizona.
But yeah, so they ended up letting me go. I think I just got picked up by Nicole and they took my car or whatever.
Oh, they took your car?
Yeah, that's a police. I hate that. They like to seize your property for no reason. And usually they'll be like, oh, it's because we can't let you leave. I'm like, well, what if someone comes here and drives my car for me? Nope, we're seizing your property. It's like, fuck you, fucking government. But yeah, but now it's legal there.
I've had an interesting situation like that when I was driving to work. They pulled me over.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
They pulled me over. They searched my entire car. I had nothing on me. I'm like, I'm going to work, so you can't search. I'm like, no, you can't search my car. They did it anyways. And then they found a whole bunch of like old tobacco boxes, and I'm like, wasn't smoking in the car, but I also don't litter.
Right.
And they kept trying to get me cut like.
Trip up.
Try to
say
admit to
something.
it,
Yeah.
He's like, no. Then he's like, right when I'm about to leave, he's like, well, if you're gonna smoke weed, just smoke at weed at home. And I just looked at him. I'm like, okay.
Okay.
And I just left.
I've had it before where like they've pulled me over and I knew it. There was nothing in the car. One guy, I was like, yeah, go ahead, search the car. And I had like all my empty. This back when they were like the Royal Blunts, Purple Haze. And I had a bunch of empties in there. And he's like, he's like, is there weed in here too? I'm like, well, I wouldn't like. I'm not that dumb. I'm not because I didn't have a license. So I was like honest because I was. This is actually an even dumber story. I was picking up a friend of mine out in like Lake Cook and Rand around here, or over down by what is that like Palatine area.
Yeah.
And if you go into Deer Park, I was going up to Deer Park Mall, and they have a left turn there that has a red light, and it takes forever if you're trapped there. So I was like, fuck it. So I just went through it, and I guess a cop saw me do that and pulled me. Oh, yeah. So I was like, hey, man, I'm just going to be brutally honest with you here. I do not have a license. My car's insured. And he was just like, well, what are you doing? I'm like, my friend is at that La Hacienda restaurant or whatever it's called, and he needed a ride home because he's probably a little buzzed. And he's like, all right, produce the friend. Can I search your car? I was like, yeah, it's fine. So I called Maddie. I'm like, Maddie, you got to get out here right now. He's like, okay. And that's when he stumbled onto the blunts and he started asking me about it. I'm like, well, I mean, I'm driving around on a suspended license. You think I'm dumb enough to take my weed with me too?
Really?
And he was like, I mean, he wasn't like touche, but he was like, and I think Maddie comes out and he confirms what was going on. And he goes, all right. He's like, let me just make sure you don't have any warrants out for your arrest. And he goes to Maddie. He's like, do I need to worry about this guy? And Maddie's like, yeah, probably. And they were ribbing me. I was like, damn it. This whole situation turned on me. So he let Maddie drive out of there. I was like, thank God.
There you go.
I got away with that one. And it was all because I was brutally honest with the guy.
Well, that helps.
Yeah, I don't think
It really
anyone
does.
realizes how far that can go.
They don't like the lying.
No,
They
because
don't really wanna work.
that's what pisses them off. It's
Right.
kind of interesting. I know I have a few stories like that, but
A few?
yeah, where I've had to like actually be brutally honest to get out of.
Yeah,
you
yeah,
know.
yeah.
I can't think of another one. I know it's happened once or twice. There was one time I remember this is summer 2005, and I was working at Ravinia back then. I was just like the gate guard there. And I had to be there at like 6 or 7 in the morning, I think. Maybe 6 in the morning, because Dad used to be at work at like 7. Excuse me. And so I would take the car to Ravinia, and then he would like take the train to Brayside, walk up, get the car, and go to work. It was my car. So this is one of those mornings. So I was heading to work we were on Prairie back then. So I was cutting through our old neighborhood, going down Michigan. And there was a Highland Park police sitting on Michigan and Green Bay. I think he was speed trapping people. Mm-hmm. And surprise, I didn't have a license at the time. And because my strategy back then was, you don't want to pass him and give him the opportunity to get behind him. It's kind of like the dogfight mentality, because the second the cop's behind you, you're fucked. Because if you try to run, they're going to be like, he was running from me. Yeah. But if he's never behind you, you don't have to find yourself in that proposition. Because if they're not behind you, you're not being chased. So if you don't put yourself behind a cop, you can't be accused of running from them.
Right.
So I always all right, well, just don't go in front of a cop. That's how you avoid that problem. So in this situation, so obviously this is kind of a local thing. If you're not from here, you don't really understand what the fuck I'm talking about. But the visual of it is, there's an alley that cuts between these two streets running north and south. This one runs east and west, and it's called like Trillium Lane. So he was just ahead of the alley, probably just running a radar gun on everyone in Green Bay, and I was coming up behind him, so I saw him. So I decided to take a left on that alley, and as I'm making my left, he's in reverse. I was like, fucking shit, I haven't even, like, what? So
he knew you were avoiding. He's like, this guy's avoiding.
Maybe this is how these fucking.
But that's still. Yeah,
anyway, so.
It's not fair.
So I knew, but like by the time, by the time I was taking my left, he was already coming up behind me. So I had one choice. Now the alley back there, it goes straight and out to the next street. But if I kept going straight, he would have been behind me. Yeah. So I had, then I'm technically running. And, it doesn't matter if you have left, rights, or turn. If you try to speed away from them, right. They have, I don't know how it is in this state, but they're given the leeway where they can be like, oh, well, I mean, I don't have it on the radar gun, but my eyes telling me he was speeding.
Oh, I didn't know
they
they
can
do
that. Yeah.
Oh,
I don't know. Again,
geez.
It might not be relative. I don't know if they can do that in this state, but police are generally given that leeway. But that's to pull you over. By the time that's why some speeding tickets get thrown out, because they're like, well, where's your proof?
Radar.
They're like, oh, well, it was my eyesight. They're like, well, we're gonna throw
you
that
can't
out.
Go, yeah.
But if you are on radar, you can't fight that. So again, that goes to my mindset and why I never want to drive past a police officer intentionally. So anyway, this alleyway, it goes straight, and then there's this quick left, but it dead ends behind the houses there. So I went to the left and got to I think the furthest driveway there and moved over to the garage and darted out of my car, because again, if I'm not in the car, it makes sense.
You weren't
right?
driving.
Right. I mean, they can't be because that's how it works. It's like, did you see this guy driving? Well, I found him near the car. Was he driving?
Right.
These are how they approach it. So I made one mistake though. Because I knew I was a block from where you were. So my goal was I should have got out of the car and just darted across Michigan, cut through Brandon's old house. Boom. They wouldn't even know what was going on. But I froze because I figured I could wait him out in the garage. So I froze in the garage, and then I realized, I'm like, fuck, he's out there. If he comes in the garage, I'm screwed. So I remember I actually was I tried to and I think I got to the front yard, and he must have just heard me dart away. He must have just heard me, like, cutting through the grass or something.
Yeah.
Because I remember as I was turning around to close the gate softly, he came right around the side of the house. He's like, "Stop, freeze!" And I'm like, because I couldn't run. If I ran at that point,
Then
I was
because he
fleeing. It could
saw
have been
you.
like a felony flee or whatever.
Yeah.
And I couldn't. I was gonna bring the cops to Kenny's house. I've never been invited over there ever again, or have sternly been yelled at, which would have been rightfully so. So, but anyway, that whole thing went away because the lawyer I got like ended up babysitting that cop or something like that. Or who knows?
Wow.
I mean, I paid a pretty penny for that
Taka?
to make all that go away. No, that was Kenny's grandparents.
Okay.
So yeah, that was quite the fiasco there. But I remember Dad. He got so mad because he went to go to get the car at Brayside. He's like,
"Where's the car? I can't
and
get
I
some
explained to
work."
him what happened. Yeah, he was not happy. He was only worried. Never mind. I don't want to say anything mean, but yeah, he wasn't happy with me back then. Which rightfully so. It was my car. I will say that. I know you're watching this.
Yeah, but if you had a deal kind of worked out. You know,
it's my car though. My car. I was gonna say that. That's all. Don't want to start anything. Probably gonna get a nasty comment under this video now. Sorry, Dad.
Sorry, Dad. I'm doing my best here. That's good. But yeah.
So there's I was watching TV today, and I don't know if you guys remember this, but like 6 years ago, there was this lady who went missing for like 3 weeks. This is like April, I think.
Yes,
you hear about this?
I did hear about this.
I
Yeah.
always got a kick out of this because when I heard this, I remember like there was a lot. So I have her name. What is it? It's
she's blonde, right? The
Sherri
blonde.
Sherri Papini is her name.
Sherri Papini.
Oh, you want the list?
Get the list. There we go. There we go.
Thanks, Ken.
Thanks.
Sherri Papini. That's it. That's all. It was just that. Yeah.
Okay.
I'll ask for the list. Thanks, Ken.
notes.
So his Sherri Papini was the girl's name, and I think this is out in California, and she just went missing for 3 weeks, and then they ended up finding her in like some either forest preserve or something like that. I can't remember. And she claimed that she was like kidnapped by these two Mexican women, which I think is so funny because I'm pretty sure that lady probably voted for Joe Biden. Now she's blaming random Mexican women for attack. That's not racist, right? I'm waiting for that. That's Joe Persinger.
Thank you, Ken. That's Joe Persinger, Brewmaster Joe. Find him on Twitter, Instagram, Ready Set Podcast. Thank you. On Facebook. Please.
Okay.
Comment accordingly.
Just put it in front of his face.
Oh, okay. That's like,
Eventually,
yeah,
it's just
that's
going to
way
turn into a
better.
graphic over here. Yeah.
Just do that. There we go. Duly noted.
We might just leave it there.
We could just leave it.
Joe, can you help us?
You know, yeah. Joe, yeah, Joe. Thanks, Joe.
So she claimed this, and then I just remember at the time it was like, it just seemed odd because someone that gets like, remember the whole Jesse Smollett thing where he like left the noose on his neck? Well, she did something stupid like that where she left like the chains that she claimed they held her captive in on her persons. And as we've learned, when people do that, it's like a sign that they're being
Well, yeah, why would you leave
if I held
that?
you captive in my
Yeah.
basement for like 15 days, would you wear the chains out
Right,
into public?
the first thing that comes off
You
is
know?
the handcuffs or
Yeah.
the noose.
If you can take them off.
You
know.
don't tighten it. The noose
Like, look
as
what they
you
did.
go into the let me
Look
make
what they
sure
did.
that's really tight.
It's
there.
just odd behavior. It's just
Very
behavior
odd
that
behavior.
people who don't like behave like that think that's how you
Right,
behave.
right.
You know what I mean? And it's just so funny, like, because what you end up finding out is, I mean, these details aren't out, but you assume, like, outside looking in, like, I mean, well, first of all, I was telling Mom this morning, like, her husband, when he was on the news, he was like, oh she's safe, he's crying like a little bitch. I'm sure she's at home like, really, guy, you're in public crying? So she probably lost respect for the guy right off the bat, which tells me she probably had already lost respect for him. That's why she went on a 3-week sex romp with her boyfriend and claimed she was kidnapped.
Sex romp.
Well, I doubt they were just eating bonbons.
Well,
you know,
Netflix and chill.
Yeah, like, and there was probably the dudes just like, you know.
That's Joe Persinger. Brewmaster Joe. Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, Ready Set Podcast. Thank you.
That's what I'm thinking. I mean, come on. Am I wrong though?
I mean,
She said she lost. It said she lost 20 pounds on that 3-week sex romp. I mean, do with that information what you will. What? Say something? I mean,
Enemas? Cocaine?
Yeah, I mean, there's some form
anything.
of colostomy was
Yeah,
going on
yes,
there.
yes.
Little, hey, can you help me with something? I mean, how stressful was this lady's life? To
make such an elaborate claim
Like,
to go all out. Well, it's the same
get
with
it.
Jesse Smollett. How shitty was your life that you actually had to do this? You're on a national TV show.
I almost
loved so.
That's interesting because that seems to be more about clout chasing.
Oh, of course, that's all the whole family
If
wants.
he
is
elevates,
attention.
and if he elevates his victimhood status, basically he gets more a better contract in Hollywood or more. It's kind of like, remember how like people would be famous just to be famous, like Kim Kardashian
That's
or
exactly
something.
what it-
And
yeah,
it's like
yeah.
it's perverted itself into the realm in Hollywood where people who are already famous are kind of doing the same thing to get more famous. It's this weird like incestuous.
Well, it's almost like that's how much you have to fight for your job.
Yeah, well, yeah,
Perhaps.
because there's always someone
But
nipping at your
the same time,
heels.
if that's the route you have to take, you're probably really shitty at your job.
Yeah.
Yeah, need to move on from that. Especially him. I mean, Smollett just pissed me off. That guy.
That's
Fuck
just
that guy.
to go back to the other lady. I just
Oh, God,
the two kids,
Sherri.
Yeah, so Sherri Papini. I think it's okay. I get it. 2 kids. There's a lot going on with 2 kids. I assume. 1 kid's hard enough. I mean, I don't have kids, so what the fuck do I know? But I have friends that have kids. Used to be a server. Used to see kids. I mean, it looks like a lot, and but. So I don't want to like hold that against her. So that's why I go immediately like, is the husband like a bitch? You know what I mean? Like
Most likely.
is he always like, oh,
Most likely.
I had such a hard day at work and it was just too much. She's like, oh, it's okay, baby. But inside she's just like, I do not respect this fucking guy. And then it gets to the point where she's like, I was kidnapped. 2 Mexican women, and she's just on a 3-week sex romp with an ex-boyfriend of hers. Like, I mean. And now the guy's like, he filed for divorce. Oh, it took you long enough, buddy. Jesus. 6 years. He needed the feds to be like she was lying. Really? You needed the feds to tell you she was lying, bro?
Is there a lot of money
I think I might
involved?
be onto something. What?
Is there like a lot of money involved in this, or is there what issue? Why would it take that long to file from divorce?
The government,
Denial?
Because I think the government just charged her recently or something.
Oh,
I think
because
that's
this
what was
story just kind of came out.
He's a
again,
bitch.
yeah.
He doesn't want to
'Cause he's a
believe
bitch.
that's
Yeah,
happening.
yeah.
Like
Yeah.
it's. Well, why is Will Smith with
Excuse.
Jada? I don't want to
Oh.
add to the saturation of that whole thing, but it's the same kind of thing there. He's just a
Well,
cuck.
he's been pretty much pussywood from the start.
I mean, the Papini's husband is a cuck. He just got
Like for
cucked.
sure. Or,
She cheated
or
on
just,
him.
Or well, yeah, but he enjoyed watching. Isn't that what that
Well, I
means?
mean, he's not bi. He's an indirect cuck.
He's an indirect. We have our direct and indirect.
Well, the direct cucks, those guys.
This is sad Joe Persinger. Brewmaster Joe, Instagram, Twitter, follow him on Facebook.
Probably the last one.
All right.
Hopefully.
That'll be the last, hopefully. Yeah, no. Yeah, that Will Smith thing was something else. Probably much better for Chris Rock than anybody else, though, I'll say.
When did you hear? Like, did you hear about it the next day?
Oh, I saw that. Well, actually,
Were you watching
Dad,
it?
Dad's like, Will Smith just smacked Chris Rock, and I'm like, oh, that's got to be an act. I hadn't watched
Yeah, that
the
would be your
Oscars
first.
just yet.
Yeah.
And I'm like, he's like, yeah, you fucking smacked the shit out of him. And I'm like, it's gotta be fake. So I turned it on. I got interested, and I got up
So
to
that
that
it was.
point.
How far would it have been? Like, it just had happened.
It
then?
had just happened, and
Okay.
I kind of fast forward through. I had to kind of see that, and I'm like, when he started yelling, and the crowd was silent, I'm like, oh, something's wrong here. But he laughed. You all saw it. He laughed when he said the G.I. Jane joke, and then she
Right.
gave
and
him
then
the side
that
eye.
glare came in, and then everything
He
changed.
decided to go and smack Chris Rock. I don't know if that was like a mental break. I don't know what would cause somebody to walk the 20 feet to stage. You know what I mean?
It makes me think like you'd love to talk to the Papini's like couples friends and like find out if like they have this like similar maybe he's like a fun guy and they're laughing at jokes and the wife's like that and
Probably.
I don't think that guy'd go slap someone and maybe that's why she went on that 3-week sex romp.
There we go.
But
balls.
for I was Sunday nights I'm usually like I think I was watching that Uber Super Pump show on Showtime
Oh, okay.
So I think I was a little distracted, but sometimes I jump on Twitter if I get bored with whatever I'm doing, and that's how I stumbled upon it, because I think it had been at least an hour or two, at least it happened. So I was kind of behind the news cycle, but I was just like, wait, what's going on here? So it was just like, whoa, that's, because that same thing, I thought it was fake out of the get-go.
Well, the little cut with censoring, when they did that live, that was interesting. I saw them kind of go back a couple seconds and then play it when it was live.
Yeah,
I see what
you're saying, yeah.
And I'm like, oh, this isn't good. He's going to start swearing. But I ended up getting to see the uncut version too of that, and that silence really got to me. That was crazy, just how uncomfortable.
Yeah, well,
the whole situation made everybody.
The way Joe Rogan put it was pretty good. He's like, he basically just took a giant shit on the table while everyone was eating and made everyone sit there and smell it. You know what I mean?
Basically, and then to receive.
Well,
the
that's
Oscar
just what's so fucking nuts about it is just, that they're. It's kind of crazy to see, like, if that was anyone else, if some random person walked in there and did that, they'd be arrested.
They would have been escorted out.
I watched a video this morning of a girl walking onto like the Minnesota Timberwolves are playing. And she walked out on the court like she tried to run, and she got like tackled to the floor and dragged out by like 8 people. Like that's usually the standard. And then to sit there and say like, oh, we're that's why I hate Hollywood. They're like, well, I am just like you. Clearly not.
No, that's
because you smack someone and then we're given a basically the Employee of the Year award. You know what I mean? Right afterwards. Like,
did they take that from him or no? They have not.
They just he. This is the thing that people do to get ahead of the press is like instead of them being like you're banned for life or whatever. I don't think they banned him for life, but what he did, he's like, well, I'm just gonna quit. And that's like what politicians do. Like if they know they're gonna get like
they resign.
Yeah, because what it is the establishment and all the outside pressure coming from donors, etc.
Right.
Saying like you have to, if you don't resign, we're just gonna publicly shame you into it, and then this allows you to leave with your dignity. That's the idea behind it. You know what I mean? It's kind of the same thing. What's going on there as well?
Yeah, that's interesting.
I kind of already forgot what the hell I was just saying.
Well, no, it was about
Oh, the academy.
With
The
academy.
So getting ahead. So it's kind of the same thing. That's why he quit, just so it didn't look like he was getting fired, basically, because that's essentially what that was.
That's like in that movie Waiting. David Koechner. Koechner. A great, phenomenal actor. He's hilarious, and he was in The Manager in there, and he's just like, the kid comes in to kind of resign from the role, he get offered him the assistant manager position.
Oh yeah,
he's
that's
just
right.
like, well, I'm a quit. He's like, nope. Here's what happened. You walked in and you're fired.
Oh yeah. That's
right. He's like, you didn't quit. I fired you. Remember, you're fired. Yeah, and it's just like, what? Justin Long too. Great actor.
Yeah, I like that movie. That was good. It kind of, I guess the guy that wrote that used to work at like Bennigan's.
Oh, that makes sense.
That's why it's called
was
like Shenanigans.
Shenanigans.
Oh, yeah.
Bennigan's. Oh God, Bennigan's.
There was. Do you remember that restaurant called Chi-Chi's?
I remember Ed DeBevic.
Yeah,
Ed DeBevic.
Yeah, Chi-Chi's kind of like competed with Chili's. It was like that Southwest Mexican like sit down restaurant, and I guess they had like some E. coli or some kind of like hepatitis breakout, or something like that. Like they bought like bad lettuce. The green lettuce is bad, and it just was like the death knell or the death nail or the final nail or whatever it's said, in that company, because they were kind of like teetering on, I think you can kind of file for bankruptcy and operate depending on where you are with your finances, but like this happened and it was just like, oh, this place is done. So I think it's just been reduced to like a salsa company, like you could buy at the store or something like that.
Salvage something there.
Yeah. So somebody owns it. It's just like
herpes in a jar.
Yeah.
There we go.
Like that was kind of why I think they're like,
Brought to you by
we can't recover from this.
Yeah.
Like, do you remember Bally's Total Fitness?
Oh, Bally's.
Do you remember those?
Yeah, what happened to Bally's?
So apparently, I don't know what happened to the actual. Apparently they went out of business as far as their gym venture went. As far as the whole company, I'm not sure what happened to it. But if you look it up now, so what happened was Fox sold some of their assets off, like some of their TV and regional sport networks and some of the movies off to Disney. That's why The Simpsons is under Disney now. The 20th Century Fox studio, I think, is owned by Disney. Yeah, so like, and I think Simpsons skewered that once. You know, I think that was one of the things they got right, where they, you know, they showed like the Fox Searchlight logo, but it said like owned by Walt Disney now or something like that.
Yeah, one of the future things.
Yeah. So that was something that was something
okay.
they also got right there too. But one of the things that also happened is Fox sold a lot of their. So like when I lived in Phoenix, they have like, so you know, out here it's the NBC Sports Network for like the White Sox and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Like most other places, especially out west, I noticed Fox Sports is like, you know, there's a Fox regional. Those are regional sports channels.
Yeah,
So they just cover, you know, like a region of the country, or really just like the Chicago market, and then whatever markets are close to it. So Phoenix, same thing. They had a Fox Sports Network. And a lot of those were, like 23 of them were sold off to Disney as well. Now, Disney, they're not idiots. They don't want to look like they're slowly taking over the world, which they are. Well,
yeah.
I mean, minus what's
We
going
could
on
talk
there
about
in Florida.
Nestle, too, on that one, honestly.
But so what they did is, instead of just calling them like, you know, the ABC Sports Network or something like that, they bought the Bally's name. So it's called the Bally's Sports Network.
Oh,
we have one down in
wow.
Florida, actually.
Interesting.
So
no, I've
those
never
are,
heard.
because I saw them like, what the fuck is this? And I looked it up, and I guess they rebranded their sports network as Bally's, and you could buy. I think someone bought the Bally's name, and it's like literally in name only. So like the company doesn't exist. It's just the branding of the company
brand itself,
is being
that
put
name.
on a sports network. It's
That's it. Yeah, that
'cause
is
it's name
interesting.
recognition.
Well,
you know?
right, because I haven't heard. That was all over the last 20. Well,
So some of those
prior
old
to early
old
2000s.
commercials we
Bally's,
watched.
yeah.
I saw one of
was
those.
it back when you had to watch commercials?
Right. Well, no, how we watched somebody watch the old commercials on YouTube.
Well, right, because I was so it's almost like watching a show. At that point, that was part of the show.
You'd see those Bally commercials on
Yeah, all the time. Now with the DVRs and the recording and everything, I don't watch commercials. I've never seen it. I don't know what. Yeah, I don't.
Except on YouTube,
I can't stand them.
stuck watching there.
I can't stand them. But nothing matches Big Red. Big
Oh, yeah, we were
Red
watching that
fresh
one.
goes right through the-
Your fresh breath
Goes on and on.
Kenny, do you know what this is?
While
No.
you're chewing.
I think I interrupted him.
yeah.
What's going on over there?
Right.
I have to change my Facebook password because someone got hacked.
Oh, Kenny got hacked.
Kenny got hacked.
I didn't get hacked.
He did not get hacked.
Oh, someone. There's a code
Someone else
there.
got hacked.
I got it.
So, yeah.
Oh, here's one. What about?
Change
Remember
your
we were talking yesterday, and you're telling me so when I go on TikTok, which I can't believe I'm admitting to, but who doesn't?
Oh.
There's
Some good stuff.
like someone takes like the Reddit threads and puts them on TikTok, and
Yeah.
remember you were telling me like explain that.
Well,
whole
that's
thing.
actually YouTube took over that first. A lot of YouTubers, which is interesting. I didn't mention prior that those couple YouTube channels, a lot of Ask Reddit posts, and it's like, CSI investigators. What was the craziest crime scene you've ever seen?
That's basically what it is.
Or
what I get, at least.
It was a bot that would just read kind of this. Well,
Yes.
the YouTuber would pick out certain responses and stuff like that, and pick the best ones, and just play it. A 20-minute episode on YouTube, and so they were the first ones to do it. But TikTok, I guess, this is a new trend, if you will. I haven't seen yet on TikTok. I'm not that much on TikTok, but
I love it.
I'm Reddit, so there is kind of like a war between TikTok and Reddit. But yeah, that was interesting to see that they're pretty much doing the same thing. I didn't see the whole video though. So what was that video that you had showed me? What?
Oh well, they're
Was that tech?
the same thing. What you were just saying. It's like I think it's probably the YouTube people taking their YouTube stuff and putting it on TikTok.
Right. But that's what those channels though too were getting kicked off
Of
YouTube.
really,
I guess they were like, there's no this is nothing. How can we show? I'm not sure exactly. But a couple of them did disclaimers on their videos.
You were also telling me like there's this thing like the Redditors versus TikTokers or something.
Yeah, I guess Reddit fucking hates TikTok and vice versa. I don't know. I don't really get the war. It's both social media. There's plenty of subreddits that just show TikTok videos.
Okay.
So I don't get the feud. Those are the ones that are in your basement.
Yeah.
You know, those guys. Fuck TikTok.
It's just fascinating
makes no sense.
to
Same
think
shit.
like it's just a way of communicating, and people are griping over
And they gripe over
how to communicate. Like wait,
when
what?
Reddit's the same thing. I don't.
Yeah, I mean it's
more text-based,
right?
but-
So that's why you think like why are we even?
Yeah, there's no difference.
And actually, it kind of surprised me like how many people use like Reddit.
Oh, I mean, they took down they took
Yeah, I
down with
remember
GameStop.
that.
I mean, that's a massive amount of people.
I had no idea because it's just you're crowdsourcing information
know,
basically.
Right.
But it's just crazy how
Now they're going public.
You use Reddit? No.
Oh, really?
No, he's
Oh,
not a
okay.
Reddit guy. Interesting.
I might be the only one. See, it's text-based.
Yeah, and that's why that's interesting.
There's a lot of video though too. I mean, there's a lot of subreddits strictly video.
Just for me, it gets so like I'm just like I can't follow what's going on
The
here.
forum setup, it takes a second to kind of get used to with the commenting, but some of them are great comments. Like, well, because they do karma, they go off karma, so you get like a vote up vote, down vote.
Oh, okay.
Which I guess really makes or break who you are as a person. So one of the most downvoted comments was a response from EA over at, what was the video game for Star Wars? One of those.
Battlefront.
I'm sure it was Battlefront. And I guess someone had made a post about EA and are like, yeah, why do I have to? I paid for the game. Why do I have to pay extra for the skin?
Yeah, I remember this. Yeah, a lot of people were like mad about how you had to pay for like all the extra in-game stuff.
Yeah, in-game stuff, and I think EA just kind of did this really generic HR response about it, and it's still going down. Mods have not taken down this post.
Oh, really?
Because they want it to keep getting downvoted. I guess I think they're at about 600,000 downvotes. I could be wrong on that fact, but. Yeah.
This is why they got rid of the dislike button on. I mean, that's not why, but like they don't have the dislike button on YouTube anymore because.
What is it? The thumbs down?
Yeah, you can thumbs down it, but it won't show publicly how many there are. You can only see that as a creator in your creator studio.
I don't know why that's so important to your value in life. A downvote button or.
Well, speaking of which, if you're watching this, like the video.
Like the video and subscribe, please.
Don't just ignore what you just said. No, the joke's dead.
Joke's
You're
dead.
killing the joke.
Killing the joke.
You're beating it into the ground.
Beating that motherfucker.
You're gonna actually have to like hand that to Ken because you're abusing it.
I'm doing too much.
It's giving some knee-jerk reaction.
Second nature.
Ken's over there doing his taxes.
No, I'm trying to change it back.
You're a little. Yeah, might as well same thing.
Did you?
Give me the fucking code already.
Did you see that Elon is buying Twitter or is trying to?
Yes.
I think they're. I'm gonna check right now to see if.
He just wants to take over the world.
Oh, wait a minute! I think this deal did this deal go through?
He can buy Twitter. He'll still not be cool.
I think this deal might have gone through.
Oh wow! Breaking news.
Hold on, let's see.
Breaking
At
news.
3:33 p.m., Elon Musk agrees to buy Twitter in a $44 billion deal. Now let's go through. This is breaking news. Oh, this has never happened on the podcast.
Breaking news, guys.
While we're recording, well, I don't even know what time. So, Eastern. So this is like 20 minutes ago.
Oh wow!
This broke the Wall Street Journal 20-something minutes ago. $44 billion deal marks the close of a dramatic courtship. Blah, blah, blah. Two sides worked through the night to hash out a deal in which Mr. Musk plans to take Twitter private. Earlier on Monday, the Wall Street Journal reported Twitter and Mr. Musk had reached an agreement on Twitter's value, which I think was $54.20. I don't see the closing one.
Wow.
I hope that even my worst critics remain on Twitter because that is what free speech means. Twitter's the purpose. This company has been expected to rebuff the offer. So what was interesting there, because if they were to have turned down the deal, he kind of boxed them in a little bit because had they turned down the deal, they would have had to come up because if you're on the board, one of your main responsibilities of being on the board is you have a fiduciary responsibility to your shareholders, meaning like it's not your company. You're there just representing these people that own shares, and obviously in everyone's there to make money. It's not that's the whole idea. So if they were to say, oh, we're not going to take this deal, and then them not have a sufficient, if you can't just be like, just because we don't want to. That's not we're looking out for your shareholders. When someone just said, hey, we want to buy, I think he was offering $10. It was I don't even know what it's trading at right now, but I think it was $54.20 was what he was offering. That's what the $44 billion came to. Yeah, it was something like that. And again, the stock's probably worth right now. I think it's $48.49. Yeah. Because what happens is when he buys it, if you own shares in Twitter, you're going to get $54.20 for it. Yeah. So anyone who hasn't bought any shares of Twitter, not financial advice, but that's what's going to happen now is that's why the price has kind of slowly been going up. But I'm either way. So one of the things Twitter could have done is said, oh, well, we had better offers, so we're not going to take this, but they have no offer, so they can't say that.
Yeah.
So if they were to decline this deal, they could have been sued by their shareholders, So they almost had no choice. And then if they didn't take the deal, Musk was going to sell his 9 or 10%, and then that stock would go down. Would be worth
They
even
were
less.
very boxed
and then
in
that
at
would
that.
have really put them
quite
in
genius.
a predicament for, and I guess to
Good on
raise all
Elon.
this money.
I give him that.
And to raise all this money, he was working with all these different banks. And I guess there were 2 banks that were advising Twitter's board about what was going on. And Elon refused to work with them
Oh,
to get
wow.
this deal done or something. I was listening to that this morning. But, yeah, that's a big deal. He's going to take it private. Let's see. I'm just going to jump on
I kind
Twitter
of
really
appreciate
quick.
that fact you go private.
It's cool. It'll be interesting because now he's going to have all control. This is what is Trump going to come back to Twitter?
Will he allow Trump?
Yeah, that's what's
Unblock the Trump.
that's going to be interesting. But I don't really see anything about. Yeah, here's
Nothing.
so Elon Musk he put out a statement about 8 minutes ago. Yeah, so this is all just happening here. And then of course we have so there's some people in politics that I just can't stand because they're toxic. You know what I mean? Like I get it. They're anti-establishment, but it's just when you're just some upper crust white liberal, or not even the fact that you're liberal, but you're just some upper crust person who's basically just you're just. I get it. I care about poor people's plight. I care about the worker. I care about labor and unions and this and that. And then you get a tweet like this from Crystal Ball, who's on Breaking Points. And I like the show. It's good. But this whole tussling over which billionaires we might hope to do or save us is incredibly bleak form of politics. It's just
Okay.
form of politics. And it's just I get what you're saying, but why have that? To have that take in a situation right now, it's because she leans left and she's trying to make herself seem moderate. But the man is for free speech. You say something like that, you're well, this is more of a macro argument about which billionaires and billionaires. It's shut the fuck up. It's you're making this about something it's not. Free speech has been fucking saved. She should. And it's funny. They moan on their fucking YouTube podcast about their videos being taken down all the time. It's just to have a take like that. It's just holy hot take, Batman. Good
Holy
God.
hot take.
Yeah, that's what that is. Maybe a lot of people talking about Twitter. So Twitter stockholders will receive $54.20 upon completion of the transaction.
Wow.
And I know how that works because I've owned stock companies before who have been sold off to private, and it takes a little bit, but eventually that stock is removed from your portfolio, and then whatever your broker is dumps that money into your liquid account, and that's how you. So if you own, a bunch of Twitter shares right now, you're basically getting $54.20 for whatever you own.
Now it's at 44.
Yeah, whatever it is now, it says
goes
because he's
up.
going to buy the
Yeah.
whole thing at
At
$54.20. So
$54.20.
all your shares are going to be. So everyone will make. So I should have probably bought some Twitter, but I'm not in the stock
That's what
market.
it
I
is.
feel that thing is rigged. I'm all about crypto.
That's right.
I like Cardano.
Future.
But it's a rough market
So does
out
he
there right
go?
now.
Does he take this public in the next few years, or
No, I think he's going to keep it
he's
private.
going to keep it private.
I think there's
I'll
going to be
appreciate
private
that. I prefer
shares
private.
available.
Oh, private shares.
I think
Okay.
I heard him say something like that, but yeah, that's this way he has complete control. So I know one of the things he wants to do is kind of get rid of all the bots that are on there.
That would be great, and that's one thing that Reddit actually suffers from.
those Reddit
That's
bots
what we
are
were saying.
brutal.
Very brutal. Well, when you got a lot of teenagers flooding the site, it makes it easier for those bots to thrive because they'll believe anything. I guess. But if I've been on Reddit for 2-3 years now, and you can kind of see the repeat of stories to get good karma based on what's in the news. They'll post something that's kind of relevant to what's going on right now, and that happened 4 years ago.
Oh, really?
And they kind of pass it off oh, this just happened.
TikTok has, I mean, not news-wise, but you'll
TikTok will do that
you'll
too,
see
those
videos that are old, and people will think that they're new
that
or
it just
something.
happened because it's relevant to something that's big in the news.
And it's funny because you can always tell it's these little kids that don't know that these are older videos because the one comment is there it's always the low quality videos. It's because it's fucking old
from 2010. Yeah.
Who do you think's
We
running
had
around
those
with
little flip phones
Yeah.
with the camera, which was really fucking cool back then. I remember first seeing a camera on a flip phone. Uncle Johnny had it.
Yes.
And he was showing me, look, he took a picture of we were at the store in the aisle, and he's like, look how good that is.
Do you remember that Black Mirror episode where they're all with the phone with the lady's she has amnesia and she doesn't understand why whenever she's so actually this episode got spoiled on fucking TikTok. I got so mad.
Oh, no.
The end, you know how the people take a whole like movie or an episode and part it into like 11,
Yeah,
12.
yeah.
So like the last, I was like, what is this? And then I realized like this is fucking Black Mirror, and I just watched the end of this episode. But I still so instead of just watching the whole episode, I just went back and watched the whole thing clipped out. But it was about like I think the second or third season. It's about someone who always has amnesia. And she doesn't know why.
Yeah, that sounds familiar.
Yeah,
I haven't gone back and watched it in a while.
So it's basically like she has amnesia, and she has amnesia, and she'll like there's someone chasing her, and she doesn't know why. And they have like this mask that has this like this, and it has this logo on it, and then the TV also would have the same logo on it, and then like I think it starts with her at this apartment, and she's like by herself, and then this car pulls up, and this guy with this mask that has this logo that you kind of see throughout the episode is chasing her, and she's always constantly running from this person. And while she's running, you'd see people like on their phones like
just recording,
and then like running after her but recording, and you're just like, what is this? And it gets to the point, I think, where this guy is chasing her. I think there might have been a second guy chasing her too, and then she teams up with this one girl, and then she separates from her because I think she gets killed or something like that. I can't remember exactly. And then like right as so she starts fighting back against these guys in this like warehouse. Oh, that's right. Because like the whole time she's trying to get to this like White Bunny Rabbit Tower or something, like whatever it was called.
Why can't I remember this?
And when she gets there, like she gets confronted by these guys, and I think she takes the shotgun or she's about to get shot, and when she shoots it, confetti comes out. And then this backstage,
she's on the show.
Yeah.
Okay.
And that was, and it was what that ended up being was like a park you could go to.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, I guess they have this thing they hook it in, and it resets her memory, and it's part. So what you find out is like all these all these different things, like the logo. Because what happened was she ended up being this person that kidnapped this girl, and she totally deserved it. She was an accessory to this crime. Her boyfriend or husband who did the kidnapping died, or maybe he was in this facility as well, but either way, part of their punishment was they'd have to go through this thing, and then their memory would get erased, and they would go through it again. So like I think one of the things that was kind of interesting was, you know, how she was trying to go to like the White Bunny radio tower, like that was like the either the girl's stuffed animal or it was named after her. So there were all these things that they'd have these weird names, but you find out that these were like the things they were used not as like a way to remind her, but like it had something to do with the crime that she committed, or I can't remember exactly what it was, but that was a pretty good twist.
That was a good one.
I'm trying to get Kenny to watch Black Mirror.
Oh, you would like it.
Probably, just haven't gotten into it yet.
Don't watch the politician one first.
I haven't watched that one. I read about that one, so I don't have to do that.
As crazy as it was. What was it? Second episode of the 4th season. I'm not sure what it was. Pig fucker.
No, that was in the first season.
That was the first season?
Yeah.
Okay, so like the first episode, first season.
Spoiler alert.
Spoiler alert. Spoiler alert.
I read about. I was so scared to watch Black Mirror. I started reading the the synopsis on Wikipedia, and when I read that, I was like, maybe I shouldn't watch this show. But then
that was really the only one.
But then the new season came out, and I worked from the newer seasons back. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I watched that Metalhead one. You told me
Metalhead one was great.
That was pretty intense. That's about the
very suspenseful.
You know those Boston Dynamic dog robots? It's about like those if they were like fucked up. But there was a few times I was like, fuck this script. Remember I was going off on this. So she tells me, like, you gotta watch this. This one's really good. And it's only 42 minutes. Most of these
are
hover between an hour to an hour 10, but they mostly about a buck two. You know, it's 62 minutes or whatever. But this one was 42, so I think it was like 7 o'clock, and I always watch Timcast IRL on YouTube at 8 Eastern, because it's just a live show I like. And so it was probably like 7. I had an hour to kill, so I was like, oh, this is perfect. I'll just watch this really quick. And I won't ruin it. I mean, just in case you guys, I won't spoil or anything. But it kind of takes place in the future, and it's about like, what if these Boston robots? They don't call it Boston robot, but that's what it is. It looks like those things, but it's like chasing people. I guess they took over again. They don't go into these details. They leave a lot of these details. You don't know why the world is the way it is. You're just kind of following what's going on, and the people directly dealing with it. But for me in the beginning, And actually, that twist at the end of it was pretty good because the twist at the end is kind of what they were doing at the beginning. And again, I don't want to ruin it, but it was really makes you like, wow, that was all that for that, huh? But so in this beginning scene, like they're in a warehouse and they end up running into these things, and one of them, so they get in a car and drive off, and one guy gets in a van and he's driving off, and it's the whole scene is him. He's driving and looking back. He's like, oh, because it's just keeping up with him the whole time. And I'm just like, okay, just hit the gas, I guess, And he's like, whoa, and the thing jumps into the back of the van. And again, like spoiler alert, I guess, because who doesn't know that this is coming? But he does like, oh, what do I do? Get shot in the head by the fucking arm of it. You know what I mean? And I'm like, all right, like you could have just hit the brakes and the thing would have gone right through the windshield. You know what I mean? If it is as heavy as it looks. But I guess we'll go with that. So then the machine, like it just plugs because it's like the future. So of course it's a smart car, not a smart car, but it has electronic computer hookup, so it sticks its like USB thing into it and it starts driving it. Now when it's driving it, this thing is operating like a Ferrari all of a sudden, because the other two people are like, oh, because the other guy couldn't keep up with the station wagon with the other two characters, and now this thing's like on their ass. I'm like, what is this? Like who okayed this scene? Like what is now?
That's
the thing,
why they were making it frustrating.
Like maybe they do that on purpose, but I'm like, this is not how frustrated I want to be. I want to be frustrated because like it's like no, go left, go right, not like why is the car going faster? Like what is this? So that's just why I have a hard time watching movies these days.
Well, it's interesting that it's kind of like how clickbait is now. They make it so it's like, oh, you're definitely smarter than this question. Most 60% of people can't figure this out, or it's like, it's stupid math, but it's just clickbait. It's play into those people. It's like, well, I'm smart. I could do that.
Oh, like those.
You know what I mean?
Like, yeah. I sometimes get those like top 5 reasons why.
Yeah.
Like, are you this? Yeah. That was like basically what Facebook was like 12 years, 12, 13 years ago. Yeah, stealing our
passwords by doing that. It was like security questions that you would answer. And a lot of the quizzes that they would put out there were like trying to fish answers that you would have put for your security answers.
Yeah, because that's
very interesting.
Used to always, and then people would post like, "Oh, I'm Joey on Friends. Take the quiz."
Yeah.
Right, remember? That's all Facebook used to be.
Yeah. Oh gosh.
Remember that?
Which Friends character are you?
Or like, which DBZ character are you?
Oh, DB. Oh god.
I know Ken took that test. Yeah.
Go home. Which one was it, Ken?
Level 2.
I was gonna buy. Me and Ken hopefully are gonna get around to like shooting some videos to like edit into the podcast or for future ones, and we're gonna buy like Super Saiyan wigs. Budget got a lot of control.
Please do. That'll be great.
We're taking donations, so if anyone wants to see me and Ken like running around DBZ wigs, I guess super chat us. Hey, that doesn't work. I don't know.
Super chat.
I I should get a Cash App attached to one of my my Twitter account or something. I could do a shirtless photo for it, Ken. What do you think?
I'm not joining you in this.
So you won't be like Kramer and George,
I don't want to be a millionaire.
But you do or you don't?
I don't.
No.
It's too much work.
It's all right. You just need to take the pictures. I don't have to pay you.
Once I become famous, I'll never leave.
Just buy the house from you.
No, be famous.
How far are we so far?
We're at an hour and 3 minutes.
Wow. Let's I need to get high. Let's pause it really quickly. Yeah, we'll come back. I got to get high. We'll be back. We'll be right back.
Right back.
All right, we're going.
All right, and we are back, everyone. So we're gonna do about another 20 minutes or so, I think.
Sounds about right.
We'll kind of call it.
Yeah.
Do you actually? I wanted to go back full circle to where we started. Do you have any other like stories off the top of your head, like crazy irate people you've seen, or?
We had one guy. This was recent, actually. I don't know what happened. I was kind of in another part of the store, but we do have a long hallway that kind of connects both sides, and it echoes. And he was screaming, irate, and no one was really paying attention to him. And I think that's what he really wanted. We were kind of ignoring him, and he just screams out, "This place fucking sucks." and walked out the exit, which is the exit you can't come back through. It actually locks behind you as you go. And again, yeah, no one paid attention to him. So he waited for a customer actually to go exit out that door so he can come back through because he knew he wasn't going to be let back in, which kind of freaked me out because I was like right in that area.
That's a security
and
issue, isn't it?
Very much so. I brought that up to management. That freaked me out. What if he had a gun? I don't mean to sound like a puss about it, but hey,
Yeah, but
there's
you never
shootings
know.
are everywhere. So yeah, and I'm like, God damn it. I'm like first in line to this fucking asshole. So I got like, sir, please, you can't come through that door. And he start charging down the hallway. And I had to fucking scuttle ahead of him and go ahead of him and be like, is there a soup? Anybody, please? And Becky, who, who's works there.
Some random person.
Random person, yeah.
It's a fictional name.
Fictional name. Takes care of things, very customer service. She's great. And he's like, well, fuck you, bitch.
Oh, Jesus.
and she's like, well, fuck you too, bitch. Get out. I'm calling the cops.
The cops show up for that?
Yeah, absolutely. The cops are there quite often. If it's not for parking issues, because that parking lot's kind of a shit show, which we rent. We don't own that
Really?
parking lot. That's why it's not been paved.
Yeah,
that's
I've
not
been
ours
there a
to
few
pave.
times.
It's
oh,
not
I
ours
see,
to pave.
I see.
So
That's
you
so
take
odd.
that up with Munderland.
Well, it's all right. Don't worry about it.
So yeah, that's a couple times that happens every so often where we have like this irate customer who's either pissed off about a price or was denied this, for whatever reason.
It's similar to like being in the restaurant industry where I see the same thing all the time. No matter what, there's just some people that you can't ever make happy.
Exactly.
Between them getting their steaks the wrong temperature. There's it's almost fascinating how there's similarities between like that customer service side of
It's a
that
service
industry versus
really,
yeah.
Still
Exactly.
Service, medical.
But it's like food versus
right.
I guess recreational or medical. But we're not going to talk. Obviously, we're not talking
Well,
about the medical side. There's
Right.
that's obvious. There's HIPAA laws, so why would you
Right.
want to do something like that? But yeah, it's just very interesting to see how there's a similar attitude that people have, and that's why just having customer service jobs are so bad because you have to deal with some people that don't know how to act.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
It's very frustrating, especially when serving tables. People just think they have that whole garçon attitude.
Yeah, very entitled.
It's just not, you're not paying like $200 for your steak, bro. Like if you're at I get it. Like you going out to like Carrabba's or even going to McDonald's these days, it's hard to like not spend $10, but that's inflation. That's a whole
that's
nother.
just inflation.
Yeah. So like if you want to be that guy, like you're spending like $500 on, it's just ridiculous amounts of money on food to be able to, I mean, even then it's not okay to act that way.
Right.
But at least it's somewhat justified, and that's why they have that mentality.
Right.
I see that with fucking Uber all the time, too.
Uber, too.
People
That's
think they're
the
like
worst,
Gordon Gecko in the back.
Right,
You know what
right.
I mean?
That you're the limo driver. And
Yeah,
they're,
it's like, this is my
totally-
car.
right.
If anyone's running the show, it's me, bitch.
I mean, the crazies come out every once in a while and just got to fucking deal with them, especially around holidays. 420 was interesting. I didn't get to partake, thank God.
Oh, really?
I wasn't there. I
weren't there?
Yeah, I wasn't there on that one.
I couldn't imagine. That would be like working Black Friday, or I assume at like Walmart or Twitter.
Yeah,
Twitter at,
yeah. Well, even Black Friday was a big deal.
Really? You guys did
We
Black
did Black Friday sales, so that was a big deal.
Is that all of them around here? Yeah.
yeah,
So
I
I'm
would
sure
think so.
every state where it's legal.
If
Yeah.
there's something that they can do a sale or try to get more people in, they
Yep.
pretty much do it.
We do it every holiday. Every
Oh,
holiday
really?
you can think of.
Every holiday,
It's a reason to smoke pot.
It makes sense. Good marketing.
every day's
I agree.
Every day's-
I
that's
agree.
true.
I mean, that's
true,
what I'm
too.
saying. I don't know why 420 was any, but well, we had a new part of the store opening too, so it was a big deal there. So, but yeah, long lines, about an hour and a half wait, which isn't typical. Yeah, it wasn't typical. We're really good. For a bunch of stoners, man, we are cohesive back there. They do a great job. You wouldn't think, and it runs really
Do
smoothly.
they allow you to do like edibles while you're working?
No
that's a big
smoking on the
no.
job, no taking on the job.
Doesn't
still
stop
working.
people, I assume.
Of course not. Come on, let's be honest. It's just interesting, you go and it's a normal setting. Let's say it's retail, it's pretty much retail. And, you're having a discussion with your boss, and I'm just in the back of my head like, this guy rips bongs. It's great, or the main squeeze comes in and they're getting high, talking business. It's really a
gotta
cool
be very
thing.
fascinating.
Very fascinating, very cool, and it's a good time to be a part of the industry.
Yeah, because it's like this, working in a restaurant. That'd be like the CEO coming in, and sitting down, and having some of the food.
Right. Well, that even
but
then
it's
though,
like,
it's still like, what if he's smoking a joint
but
too?
usually they don't. They usually go to different restaurants.
They go to
Why would they eat
They
the
know.
fucking shit that they sell?
They
You know
know.
what I mean? They have to fucking sell it all day. They're like, no, we don't eat like plebs.
Yeah.
The employees get the disc. That's kind of funny.
But yeah, so there's any other crazy stories though for that? It's pretty much the same thing. Just irate.
Have you ever
people.
seen like internal politics there, where like the front security guys are like mad at the back security guys, or like the greeters, or
Yeah,
like, is there,
we
like,
did.
like how does
Well,
the social hierarchy work? Like if you're a greeter, are you the bitch?
Well,
or the
it's
check-in
pretty
person or
diverse.
whatever?
Yeah, you know what? Technically, yeah, it's kind of like a seniority. You fight your way to the good spots of the store. Back of house obviously is most desirable.
Yeah.
They're not. They try. There's like 150 people who work there, and rotation isn't that prevalent there, especially with newer people. I don't know how long you'd have to be there to get into stuff like that.
Yeah.
As long as you're reliable. But so yeah, there was a little bit between lounge. I didn't even know this, so they did a good job of kind of keeping it hush hush. Or was it just a couple people who had issues? But lounge and rec side, I guess, were feuding.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I don't know why.
So
I don't know what the point was.
Excuse me. This is interesting because I didn't know this, because when you were telling me about this, that I didn't realize. So when I pictured the lounge, I just assumed it was just going to be an empty room, and an empty room, and then you would just be able to like sit on a couch and just do what the fuck you're doing. But then I saw a picture, and it looks like you're kind of in like you're already in a dispensary, but it kind of looks like you're like in a dispensary. It's like almost like you're in a bong shop.
It's kind of like a bar setting.
Yes,
or if
that's
you
the best.
will, or
Yeah,
we called it a
that's,
speakeasy. Is
that
what
makes
it was.
sense.
It's a speakeasy.
I would go with like sweed
easy.
Yeah, so that doesn't work. Sounds like you're jerking off. But you know what I'm saying? A weed easy. Weed easy. No, stop. I'll stop. Anyway.
That's a joke. So I don't know what that was about. I mean, it was prevalent because there was an email that was sent out about it, but I don't know. I didn't even hear about it.
I'd love to hear about what was going on there.
Oh no.
What was the lounge people's problem?
I don't know.
Not like I'm just speculating.
Because I hadn't realized that lounge is not that they're independent contractor or anything like that, but it's almost set up that way.
Independent contractor.
Yeah, hey. Talk to them.
I have that video saved too.
Oh, good. We'll have to use that. But they strictly do lounge. They don't ring. They don't do back of house. They don't do delivery or anything like that.
So it's people moaning they want them to work more, probably.
Yeah, I'm not sure. No, I don't know if it was. Yeah, that's the thing. I can't place any why there would be a problem.
But it doesn't surprise me either.
I think it's more personal of people in between certain people.
That would make sense. It's not. It's not really like one side of the business versus the other. It's just the people working.
It's just a personal issue between a couple people, and it just turned out to be that way. And they kept it under. I didn't hear about it, so that was good.
Do you hear any good petty squabbles going on in there? Are they good at quashing that shit?
Yeah, they're pretty good at that. I've heard a couple people like bitch and moan. I think that's like any
that's really
place
good
you're
sign.
at.
That's really good sign of management.
Management.
Or a good management team.
Their management team is outstanding.
Because I've worked in restaurants where it's just like people, not literally people throwing haymakers, but I mean it's just like you're going into work like just dodging shells like it's Ukraine right now.
They care a lot. I've actually never been in a place that they really give a shit about their employees.
That's
they truly
cool.
do.
But I wonder if that has a lot to do with the climate of as far
we're
as
all
like how
high, aren't we?
Well, that makes it easy. But I mean, like it's like because down in Florida, like they as far as because down there, it's a little different.
All medical there.
Yeah, and there's that side of it, but like, pertaining to excuse me, what happens? I drink soda all the time. It's burp. There's a lot of restaurant jobs, so like it was harder to keep people retained, and to do that, they only had one choice, but to offer more. Like every Wendy's down there pays almost as much as I was making as a manager, because they just cannot keep people working there.
Yeah.
So I'm wondering if maybe I don't think that's the case. I think a lot of people want to work at a dispensary, so they probably
Yeah.
don't have a hard time keeping those places staffed. So it's
Well,
really nice.
actually,
Even
turnover's pretty high.
really,
Yeah,
Oh, so maybe I am onto
was
something.
actually
Then.
surprised when I figured that out. I don't know. I'm not quite sure why. It pays decent.
Yeah,
It rivals a lot
good,
of
there's
other
good
places.
perks.
Very good perks. You know, I would forego perks if it meant, you know, a couple dollars more. Because I'm buying anyway.
Well, I guess yeah, that's hard.
But
I'm
that's
almost,
their way of,
that's true.
that's their way of kind of being like, hey, and then, you know, there's tips.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
that gets
Is
added.
that a
Tips are decent.
That's a pool that they add
That's
on
a
to your
pool.
check. Yeah,
Yeah.
so they do at
Don't need to
Starbucks.
tip us. I don't, you know, I think people really feel compelled to because the service that they're getting.
Yeah,
Right.
because it kind of works the same way as you're being a server or a bartender.
Right. I mean, I wish we could show product. I hate that some companies give you these black, like Rhythm, the jars are black. You can't even
Yeah,
show at least a little
yeah,
bit of
I've
what the weed
seen-
is. Not all companies do that. So yeah, but it would be nice that they could smell the weed, you know, feel if it's dry, if it's moist, you know.
I was really surprised that the state went in that direction.
Yeah. Well, Illinois.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah, they
it's
did
what
with
happens when you have a
Prohibition.
bunch of bureaucrats writing laws. You know, I mean,
Mm-hmm.
the state's so corrupt anyway.
Yeah, you know, as far as turnover though, I don't know why that's so high. I think I kind of get it. It's pretty tedious work, especially
Yeah.
when it's slow. There's just a bunch of us standing around, like, place your pre-order.
do they make you clean and shit if it's slow?
Yeah, well, now that the weather's nice, yeah.
Well, that sounds like-
actually, the other day, yeah, they had a couple people, all right, go sweep up cigarette butts outside, or go dust, or go, yeah.
Golly,
When you got all those
suck my
people. Well, it was
dick.
pretty, you know, after 420, a lot of people, like, pretty much spent all their money. So no one's been really
Oh,
coming
it's
in the
kinda
last couple
dead.
days. It's
Well,
pretty
everyone
dead.
like- yeah.
So we had all this like influx of employees with nothing to do.
Don't they they don't cut time at all for people? Like
No,
they won't
no,
send
actually,
you
they're-
home?
no,
what
that's
I do.
actually
I'd be like,
nice,
"Oh,
though.
The
They're-
labor's running too
they're-
hot here.
They're good about that because people still want, you know, we got a lot of people from Wisconsin. And that's a bit of a drive to just come in for 4 hours.
Oh, that work.
That work there, yeah.
Yeah.
So no, they won't cut your hours. I'm sure you could ask to leave.
That's what I do. I'd be like, well,
I
mean,
have.
That's as a server. That's what I'd want to
Server,
do
I could understand,
because
but-
like you're not making a lot per hour, and if there's nobody coming in, then you're like, why am I fucking standing here like a dick bag?
Right.
Because then same thing. Like they don't
Well,
make you
see-
clean, but they're just like, ugh, they'll find shit to do if it's really slow, and that's happened before. It's like, oh god.
Well, you don't have just these all of a sudden this influx of people. Like all of a sudden, it's like people travel in packs. It's weird as humans. We just travel in packs.
Travel in packs.
And you just see like, okay, from like 10 o'clock to 12, it's just like all you motherfuckers came at the same time. And then it's
All those-
dead till 2. And then
Fucking guys just waking up. Like, "I got my
that's,
weed."
yeah. Oh, you people, look at yourself in the mirror, please, before you go out. I don't care if you're going to a dispensary. The shit some people come showing up.
Oh wait, okay. Let's
That's
crack.
right,
Let's
that's
crack
right.
this egg. Hold on.
Let's crack this egg,
Yeah, I want
yeah.
to hear a little bit more about
I
this.
just don't understand some of the shit y'all. You
So-
literally rolled out of bed. You're in your PJs still.
So,
Yeah,
who do you see?
Going out to go get some weed. Just like,
yeah, just rolled out of bed and probably checked and like, fuck, I'm out, and just came.
Between like men and women, or
Both.
is
It doesn't matter. It's both.
even.
It's
okay.
both y'all.
Poor
Stoners
rich.
don't. Poor. Oh, I don't. Yeah, I mean, we see doctors. We see
And they're
everybody.
just like,
Oh. Well, I don't know that they're. You know, people come.
not
in
like you know
heels
who's rich, but
and dressed to the nines, like it's some club, and then you got opposite end. Didn't even brush your like pajama pants. Like I remember one guy just had his like sweatpants, pajama pants, and a Christmas sweater. It's fucking March, you know. Like I don't know where you even pulled that out from, you know.
it was the one thing that didn't stink.
Yeah, probably.
I can't
probably.
do that. If I go to like to the gas station to get something, like I have to like change my whole
At
like
least
I'll leave my pants
jeans. I
on
know
because
you
they're
got
not that
jeans
bad. But
laying around.
I can't wear the same like shirt, my ratty shirt I've been wearing around the house all day.
I don't mean to be
Sweatpants
judgmental.
on these are my shoes. Those are my going out pants. I just put them over my shorts.
Well, it's not necessarily
going out
sweatpants, but it's really obvious that you rolled out of bed. That's not a normal look for you. You can tell.
Have you ever had to
but-
deny entry because someone was too stinky?
No, we got a couple stank employees.
Oh,
I
this,
don't know.
better
So
stop there.
that's not really. Well, we did. There was like kind of an email about, hey, general hygiene, guys.
I got a story about this. I was fucking. This is when I first started serving when I was
Yeah.
at California Pizza Kitchen. It was
Oh,
like 2005.
Yes.
And because remember, Ken, this is when I lived on Llewellyn, and I had the Grand Prix, and so this is when I was still driving out there. So I was still living with Dad, I think.
Yeah.
Yes. No.
No.
I think I was actually living with Mark and Eric at the time.
Oh,
I had just
okay.
started this job.
Yeah, that was out
Yeah.
by CPK.
So I was. Yeah. So I wasn't even living at Llewellyn, but you were probably mad at me because I just moved out there randomly. I think I was very spontaneous back then. Yeah, because I just took off. I didn't even say anything, Ken. He's just like, "Where have you been for 2 months?" I'm like, "Well, I moved like to wherever, to fucking Barrington." He's like, "Fuck you." I was like, "I guess I should have said something." I was like, "Sorry." But anyway, so I'm at work, and I was just like, I think it was like we just opened, like we were open, but like there wasn't really people coming in, and I was just kind of at the soup well doing something, and I remember I saw that my manager walked behind me, and he stopped. And then he kept going, and I was like, me, Mark, and Eric, we thought this guy hated us. Like, I didn't, so he was always, like, on my radar. Like, he was always picking on me. Like, I always used to attract, like, that. I made it easy, I guess. Yeah. But, like, this guy used to, like, go after, he was actually really nice, but, like, it felt a little like he was attacking us a little bit. So I was on edge when he'd, like, walk behind me, and I was like, oh, jeez. And then he comes back around, like, a minute or two later. He's like, hey, can you come to the office with me really quick? And I'm like, God, now what? Just fucking shift just started. This guy wants to yell at me already. And we get in the office, and he hands me a stick of deodorant.
No words said. Just
he's just like, you should probably put this on,
bro.
bro. And what was funny is, like, up to that point, my mom would always, like, I'd walk in, like, oh, hey, Mom. And she'd be like,
yeah,
go put some deodorant on. Yeah. And I'd be like, what? And then I was just like, whatever. I thought she was just like harassing me. And then after that moment, I'm like, damn, I'm the smelly dude.
He was the smelly
so
guy.
I started buying deodorant. I'm pretty sure. I'm almost tempted to say I had the Grand Prix because I want to say I was living on my own at the time. Because when I lived with Dad, I would just use his deodorant. So the reason I wasn't probably using deodorant is I had none because I was fucking poor living in an apartment by myself for the first time ever. So that's why I want to say that's when that was. But I mean, we're almost talking 20 years ago.
You had enough weed, folks, though.
Yeah, I mean, that was the World of Warcraft days.
Oh.
Yeah, we were all a bit stinky back then.
Yeah, it's true.
Well, even our stinky guy is actually very clean. I could tell he's very hygienic. I just think that's just his issue.
He just naturally stinks?
Yeah.
He's got a naturally
because
musky
he's
musk?
very clean. He's a very clean
I'm going to be honest,
person.
that smells like gasoline,
you know. But, yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah. So.
See, I can't smell, so.
Well, that's the
like,
thing too. If you have a hard time, how do you
A
know?
deviated
I could usually, even if like fuck, I forgot deodorant, you could smell it, but yeah. That sucks when you're at the register next to that guy.
Dude, I'm at the gym sometimes working out, and like I'll be like, is that fucking me?
Probably.
And I have to like put my shirt up. And I'm like, okay, I can smell my deodorant now. So I'm like, oh, that's
so that's not.
whoever's
Yeah,
around
you would
me,
know.
like
You would.
stinky
Yeah.
Puerto
It
Ricans.
does kind of waft. Stinky Puerto Rican. Yeah. Okay. Thank you. That is Brewmaster Joe. All right. Instagram, Facebook, Twitter.
Write all your letters. ReadySaidPodcast at gmail.com. I haven't checked that thing in forever.
We have to do Gmail. Okay. Yeah.
One day I want to do like, ever listen to Bill Burr's podcast?
A little bit. Yeah.
He does like where people write letters in. There's a whole YouTube channel
that's pretty
dedicated to like all the different ones he's read over the years. They're pretty funny. It's like Dear Billy Biscuits, or Dear Billy Big Tits.
You could do a segment on some hate mail if you want.
That'd be fun. We'll just have Kenny. Kenny will write them.
Oh, just Ken will be main author. We'll just do a bit. It'll be real.
Like, man, this guy's nasty. And then Kenny's actually sending him in real time.
Kenny doing it.
This is sent me a few minutes ago from this house.
But yeah.
One of the things that I've been doing Uber. I was out in restaurants. I don't even know if I really talked about that on this podcast. Maybe I've mentioned it before. Because I know I've talked about crazy stories before, but I don't know if outright addressed it. But I went from working in restaurants managing to now I'm just fucking Uber driving because I live in Central Florida. And I'm right by Disney, so it's just like it's like easy money. Like if I'm gonna sit at home, like I remember when I started doing it, I was like, this is back when I used to watch baseball all the time. I don't really watch baseball much. I follow it, but I can't watch it anymore. It's just not whatever. And I remember I was watching the Cubs game one night, and I was just like, I looked at because this is 2020, so Disney was still limited capacity, but there was a lot of people going there. But I think everyone was still on unemployment, so there weren't a lot of drivers. So I'd be sitting at home and I'd look at Uber and it would tell you, oh, the area is surging. So I was like, damn, I could go make money right now, but I'm like, I want to watch the game, and I'm like, yes, if only I could work and sit on my ass and listen to this. So I was like, that's
Ting.
yeah. So that's what's kind of nice. It gives you that freedom. But driving around, I like to work mainly in Disney because it's just easy. It's a lot easier to move around Disney. There's not because the stoplights in Florida, especially in Central Florida, they're long. There's a lot of traffic outside the perimeter of Disney, so it's just hard to move in and out if you get trips like that. So I prefer to stay in. So anyway, in all these few years I've worked there, I've kind of always been curious about Disney because I used to get in like arguments with the guard gates there. So like. At Hollywood Studios, there's 2 spots to drop people off. There's one because cast members get picked up on one side, you drop people off at the other. And even since then, they've changed it to like you can't even use the same parking lot to drop people off that you park your car at. They have you go where the buses are now.
That's right.
And if I had to guess, knowing fucking Disney, because Uber drivers are going in there, be like, oh yeah, I'm just picking someone up, and they just go park the car and go into the park. And then Disney probably figured that out. People were doing that, so they're like, fine, go pick them up over by the buses where you can't even park your car. I don't give a shit. It's easy to pick people up now, but it was just like it's anyway. So with the cast members, I was dropping someone off once, and they picked the cast member side, and I was gonna take him back over to the other side, but it was like a mile long fucking traffic to get into because they hadn't opened the park yet.
Yeah,
and they don't do that anymore, but back then they were. So I was like, I don't really want to wait in that. They're like, yeah, neither do we. They're like, sorry, you can let us out here, and we'll walk over there. I was like, all right, cool. And like, this isn't how it happened, but it almost feels like this is what happened. So I was like, all right, guys, see you later. Drove off, and I started to head out towards at the main road that brings you out of the park. And this lady like rolls out of the bushes, and she's like, oh, jeez. She's like, stop, stop, stop. And I'm like, what the fuck?
She's been waiting for you.
Yeah, and she's like, I saw what you did over there. And I was like, what? Drop them off? And she was just like, they're not supposed to be dropped off over there. This is like some 50-something white lady, probably lives in a trailer in Lakeland, Florida. And,
hey.
Sorry, my apologies. Florida trailers are different.
Okay.
No, they're not.
The
trailers
trailers are
kind
shit.
of nicer.
Trailers are shit.
A lot newer.
Yeah.
Anyway.
I'll believe it.
So she just starts like going after me. Like, it's not personal, like ad hominem attacks, but she's like, you can't do that. And she just kept going, and I was like, well, they're right over there if you want to go share this information with them. Because she's like, and then she's like, she went off again, and I was like, are you done? And she goes, do you want to be banned from the parks? I'm like, I don't go to these fucking parks. Overpriced fucks, like, get out of here. And she was like, that's it. I'm going to take a picture of the license plate. And I was like, get out. I just sped out of there. I was kind of like worked up, though. I was like, oh.
Well, that's what, that confrontational.
Yeah, I didn't know what was going on. And so I used to like tell people this. There was another time I was going into Magic Kingdom, and there's 2 ways to get to that parking lot. You can go around towards the Contemporary, and there's like a service lot like way that brings you in there, or you just take a left and then a right in there. But you have to go around all the buses, and it's not a big deal. But there's like sometimes they put like a parking lot gate there. But like when I started I started doing this when Disney had just opened.
Yeah.
So like they were like bare bones staff back then compared to where they are now. So now they stick a guard gate there. So when this happened, I wasn't used to this person being there. So I drove in, and I was like, oh yeah, I'm just dropping them off. And I was just kind of rolling through, And again, Disney's private property. They're not like, I guess they could have their own police force. They don't. They just subsidize that through Orange County. But it's technically private property. And this guy doesn't have the authority to stick the police on me. He's just a fucking old man who's works 20 hours a fucking week. Yeah. So I was just like, just dropping him off. And I didn't stop the car. I was just kind of rolling through. He's like, stop the car. And I'm like, what? And I'm like, yeah. I'm like, there's a lot of pedestrians here, huh? And he was just like, and at this point, he was just like, because I was sitting down, and then he was like talking to me. I keep doing these fucking wires. he's like talking to me like
Yeah,
this,
he's
hands-
crouched over.
And I just remember being like, it was just getting contentious. I'm like, all right, stop. I'm like, you're a human, I'm a human. We're both just working guys, just trying to get through our day. Why don't we start over? And you talk to me like a human, I'll talk to you. And he was like, okay, well, we'll do. And he just went like to level 3 condescension. And it just same thing devolved into like, we're just gonna ban you from the parks. I'm like, I don't go to these fucking parks. Who's telling me that? I don't fucking like Disney. You know what I mean? Like, I don't understand why they keep saying that. Well, I figured that out. It's because they're used to fucking saying that to people, and they're like, oh, okay.
Well, yeah, that scares
sorry.
them, right,
like fuck
right.
you. Like that's not where I just work here, sort of. And so anyway, so this started making me think like, can they do that? And I ended up
couldn't drive on their property then.
well, and the logistics of trying to keep someone off that property.
It's probably pretty difficult.
Technically, you can the way the trespassing laws work in Florida, I think, is if you tell someone you can't be here, and then you're caught. That's the trespass.
That's trespass. Yeah.
And then you have a whole, especially if you've been. Usually they let you off the first time, but they're like, next time you're here, it's a
Yeah,
whole
it's a-
different
it's a
story.
arrest, yeah.
And then if you keep doing it, it turns into a felony, I think.
Right,
So
right.
that's how those work, but. Still, it's just.
It's a restraining order against
I
Joe.
mean, they could, yeah, especially after this podcast. So anyway, so I started thinking about this. And I found this YouTube channel. I think it's called like the Disney Tale of Two Cities, and it kind of breaks down. So obviously, you've been watching the news. You know what's
Yeah.
going on with the whole Reedy Creek and Special District down in Disney.
Right.
And this was kind of like a year or so ago. Not a lot of people knew about this. Now everybody probably knows how
Yeah.
it works, but up until like the last month or so, only the fucking nerds at Disney knew about this. And actually, I'm going to try to do a podcast about it. We were talking about this earlier, me trying to do a podcast about this, but it's such a fluid situation. It's been hard for me to do it, and I'm here. So that was the other thing that's kind of getting in the way. But what basically it is, yeah, technically it is. It's their private property. So
Right.
they, Disney owns the majority of it. The state of Florida owns some of it. I think and then the actual Reedy Creek Special District owns some of it as well. So it's kind of divided out that way. But Disney's the majority shareholder or the majority property owner, so they have all that shit. But so they could do that if they wanted to.
Right.
But what's crazy now is just I used to joke with people because kind of leading up to them having the special district removed, I used to say like I don't think they would end up doing that because now all the taxpayers are going to be on the hook for what's going on. Your dog sounds like he's dying, bro. Is he something out front, or is he probably us? Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Fucking dozer. I'm like, he'll die off in a minute here. He's been going like it's my whole speech. Yeah. So it'll be interesting to see how that goes. I think they're gonna wait because it's not. What if he is dying? Kenny's gonna go check.
Kenny's got it.
It'll be interesting to see how these next few months go because I guess they can reapply for this district.
Okay.
But like it's not going to be dissolved till next summer because I think the government wants to look at what's going on as far as like how this is going to impact the area.
Right.
And that'll be interesting.
Right. To be continued.
Yeah,
really.
I mean, again, it's kind of hit a point where like nothing's really going to happen with it at the moment. But that's this is the slower part of it.
Right.
I think even Disney hasn't said anything, and that's really what's interesting. They haven't said we're going to fight this because look what happened the last time they said they were going to fight Florida legislation. They lost their special district. So it's interesting how quiet they are now.
And they're building a case.
Well, yeah, I mean, I can't think that they aren't going to fight it. Obviously, they're going to.
They're gonna try.
I mean, I think outside of the special district, there's another tax break they have on the books. But I guess it's part of so when they pass this, when Ron DeSantis signed this into law the other day, or not? He signed the law. It's not into law. He signed the bill.
Yeah.
A few months ago, or 8 months ago, Florida signed like a social media bill that was basically like, they can't like Twitter, Facebook, all those can't ban anyone arbitrarily. Who's running for office.
Okay.
You know what I mean? If they do, they get fined.
Yeah.
And then for some reason, Disney got a carve out. Like they were exempt from this. Like they sound like they run a social media company. I forgot like what the reasoning might be. Someone I was talking to about this pointed something out. And I'm like, oh, maybe that was it. But I can't remember what that was. But they were exempted from this law. And then when they passed this recent one, they removed that exemption.
Oh,
So
okay.
they're kind of just like, shooting at Disney's feet now. They're like, dance, bitch.
Dance, motherfucker,
They're
dance.
just like, but they're not saying anything. They're just high stepping, but everyone's like, no, he's not talking. It really adds to the. So I mean, Disney learned their lesson. They just shut the fuck up.
Yeah.
But it's just
Stay quiet.
yeah,
No, that's good.
you have to.
Yeah.
Well, Kenny's not here. We're probably close to 4.
I think
Do you
we
want?
are at about. Oh yeah, we're past 4.
Okay.
Yeah. It's like 4:20.
All right, cool. Then I think we're gonna call this. That was fun. I
Okay.
appreciate
No,
it.
yeah, for sure. Thanks, guys.
Kenny's coming up
Good.
next. Not sure when we're gonna do that. He's already getting. She's telling me it's a little busy this week. All of a sudden.
Uh-oh.
Now it turns up, and it's all right. We'll figure something out. I'm here for another week or so. Anyway, it's not the podcast. Not like I post these weekly or anything, so I'll have
True.
them in the bank and we'll get them up. But I'm probably gonna put this one up pretty soon because of
Cool.
recent what we're talking about and the Twitter
It's a
thing
little
breaking
recent.
live. I'll probably put this one up tonight. So
Oh,
anyway,
nice.
please like the fucking podcast. Give it a like, comment. That actually helps the podcast with the algorithm on YouTube or anything you're watching this on, Spreaker, whichever. If you comment, helps the algorithm, pushes it up, and gets it out there a little bit more.
Good
Yeah.
or bad feedback.
Someone's texting you.
I think that's it.
Oh, that's it. All right, anyway, let's get the fuck out of here. Again, thank you everyone. Appreciate it. That was a nice podcast, and we'll see you next time, you fucks.